Next, he goes forward. Now 93, 94 we have to chant together, but there is a difference in tune. Let us read. Nigadyatentah karanam manodhihi ahankritischittamitis svavrittibihi manastu sankalpa vikalpanadibihi buddhif padarthadhyavasaya dharmatah atrabhimanat ahamityahangkritihi swarthanusandhana gunena chittam. So Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action. Next is what? Antahkaranam. Antahkaranam, inner instrument. Why is it called inner instrument? Because the previous two, Jnanendriya and Karmendriya, are called as Bahyendriya, outer instruments. So when it is said Bahyendriya, we have to immediately understand what do you mean by Bahyendriya, Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. Why are they called as outer instruments? Not because they are outside. They are inside only, but they are working with the world outside. Either they are taking the input or they are sending the output. Therefore, they are called as Bahyendriya, Bahyakaranam. Now, compared to them, Antarindriya, the inner instrument, the inner organ is what? Antahkaranam. Antahkaranam. What is this? Nigadyate. This is called as Antahkarana. What is called as Antahkarana? Manaha, Dhihi, Ahankritihi, Chittam. So, Jnanendriyas were 5. Karmendriyas were 5. Now, Antahkarana is 4-fold. Therefore, it is called as Antahkarana Chatushtaya. Like Sadhana Chatushtaya. Remember? Beginning. Even before Sadhana Chatushtaya, there was one more Chatushtaya called as Anubandha Chatushtaya. Remember? First verse. Chatushtaya means 4-fold. Like that here, Antahkarana Chatushtaya. The 4-fold inner organ. What is that? What are the 4 aspects of it? Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chitta. Now, why is one Antahkarana called by these 4 different names? Svavrittibihi. Reason he is giving. Due to their functions. So, each aspect of Antahkarana is called by that name because of their function. Okay, if you say so. But then explain what is this Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. He explains now. Manahatu, in that too, verily, indeed, Manaha, what is mind? Mana means mind. Buddhi means intellect. Ahankara means ego. Chitta means memory. So now he will be defining that. Manaha, mind. What is this mind? Sankalpa, Vikalpana, Adibhi. It is called mind. The mind is called as mind because of its oscillatory mode. Because it is always in oscillation. Oscillation means movement. From this to that. Sankalpa, Vikalpa. Doubts, hesitations, emotions, perceptions, all these they keep changing. Sankalpa, Vikalpa. Right? It is indecisive mode. Indecisive mode. That is called as Manaha. Manyate anena iti Manaha. Sanskrit definition. Manyate anena. That by which we think is called as mind. Right? Manastu sankalpa vikalpanadibihi. Okay, fine. What is mind? Clear. Buddhi. What is Buddhi? Buddhi means intellect. What is intellect? Padartha adhyavasaya dharmatah. The intellect is called as intellect. The Buddhi is called as Buddhi because of its nature of determining the truth of anything. Padartha, any object. Adhyavasaya, decision, determination. Dharmataha, because of its nature. So, if mind is in decisive mode, intellect is decisive mode. Somebody is coming from far. Who is that? Is it Hari or Hara? Confusion is mind. Then little bit closer it takes, little more insight, thoughts, etc., and they become firm. It is Hari. What has happened? Mind was in oscillation mode. Now the intellect has stepped in and said, decision, this is him. So decisive mode is called as intellect. Buddhihi, buddhyate anena. That by which we know, that by which we determine, that by which we finalize. Decisive mode. That is called as buddhi. So mind, indecisive mode. Intellect, decisive mode. Mind is when we are in oscillation. Intellect is when we have taken a decision. Now, what is ahankara? Atra, here, abhimanad aham iti ahankriti. This ahankriti, another name for ahankriti is ahankara. Ahankara is ego. Ahankriti also means ego. What is this ego? Why this ego is called as ego? Atra, because abhimanat. Because now here abhimana is not that abhimana, okay? Here abhimana is not in the sense of pride. Actually, ego and pride are also in English used interchangeably. This fellow has got a lot of ego. This is not that ego. Ego is anything that says I. Abhimanat, on account of its identification, aham iti ahankriti. That which says I is called as ahankriti or ahankara, ego. That which says I means what? When I am thinking, the mind is thinking. What? Is it Hari or Hara? That thought is backed by one more thought. That I am thinking whether it is Hari or Hara. That I is provided by this ahankara. Then intellect says it is Hari. But back of the mind, what is happening? I know it is Hari. This I is provided by this ahankara. Okay. So whatever mind is thinking, whatever is intellect deciding, to that this ahankara provides I. Shankaracharya himself will explain this ahankara separately later on in this section itself. That time we will see. Why? Because it requires special explanation. It's a little different. But that is what is ahankriti. Aham karoti iti ahankara. Aham karoti. It keeps saying I. Means what? It keeps providing I. That is called as ahankriti or ahankara. Aham karoti iti ahankara. And then what? Last one. Chittam. Chittam is memory. What is memory? Why is memory called as memory? Swartha or rather Swartha Anusandhana Gunena. Because of its function, because of its property of Anusandhana. Anusandhana means remembrance. Because of its function of remembering Swartha, what it wants to remember. What interests it remembers. By that quality, Chittam is called as Chittam, memory. Chintana Kartru. Chetati anena, that by which we recollect, remember, Anusandhana. That is called as Chittam. So, these four put together are called as Antakarana Chatushtaya. Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. Sometimes Chitta will be taken first, Ahankara will be taken later. That is okay. Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta, Ninaham. Shankaracharya says there also he puts Ahankara first. In Tattvabodha, etc., he will take Chitta first, then he will explain Ahankara. That is okay. Doesn't matter. So, Mana is what? Mind is what? Indecisive mode. Buddhi, intellect is what? Decisive mode. Ahankara is what? Doer mode. Ego mode. Where what are we doing? For every thought it is providing I. And what is Chitta? Recollection mode. Why are we seeing this? Why are we saying this recollect modes, etc.? Because basically, Antakarana means thoughts. Careful. In Sanskrit, thoughts will be called as vritti. Vritti. Vritti means thought. In Vedanta, especially. Right? So, actually, Antakarana, what is Antakarana? Antakarana is thoughts. Now, based on what kind of thought it is segregated into these four. If the thought is of indecision, it is termed mind. If thought is of decision, it is termed buddhi. If thought is of ego thought, aham vritti means I thought, which is providing I everywhere, it is ahankara. It is called ahankara. That thought is called ahankara. And when the thought is of remembering something of the past, that thought is called as chitta. And therefore, many times in Vedanta, these words will be used to indicate all the others. Sometimes they will just say mana. By that mana, you have to understand they mean antakarana, entire mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, everything is called as mana. Sometimes they will say buddhi. In some senses, mana, buddhi, when they want to distinguish, they will use both the words. But in general, when they are saying buddhi, buddhi means antakarana. Antakarana means all four. Sometimes they will say chitta. Chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi is not purification of memory, purification of mind. So the chitta will be sometimes termed as mind, intellect, antakarana. It is basically what? It is thoughts. Basically thoughts. Based on what kind of thought it is, it has got particular name. Therefore, it is said swavritti bhi. According to the type of function, type of thought, we are giving 4 different names. And the 4 names are very aptly given. Mana is called mana because it thinks. Manyate, anena. Buddhi is called buddhi because it decides. Buddhyate, anena. Ahankara is called ahankara, ahankriti because it does aham karoti. Chitta is called chitta because chetati anena, it recollects. It brings that thought back to you. The thought is of past, but it brings it back to you. Lights it back to you for you. Illumines it for you. That is why it is called as chittam. So, pancha jnanendriya, pancha karmendriya, antakarana chatushtaya. So far we have seen that these are the different parts of subtle body. Now one more he adds. What is that? Pancha prana. The 5 vital airs. Let us see. Verse number 95. Different tune. Pranapanavyanodana samana bhavatyasau pranaha swayameva vritti bhedad vikriti bhedat suvarna saliladivat. He says, asau pranaha bhavati. This is called as prana. What is called as prana? The 5 physiological functions. Carefully note all the words. 5 physiological functions are called as prana. Sometimes they are also called as vital airs. I am giving English equivalent. Physiological functions or vital airs. Vital airs. The air aspect inside us which are vital. Vital means very important to us. Why? Because they are the ones doing all the functions inside. See, if Bahyendriyas are taking the world inside and sending it outside, so input and output, if the Antakarana is thinking, deciding, remembering and providing I to it, what is the function of prana? To take care of the physiological functions. That is what is prana. So, they are also 5 in number. What are they? Prana. The first one is called as prana. Prana means respiration. Respiration. Inhalation, exhalation. Together, respiration is called as prana. Apana. Apana, excretion. Isn't it? We eat food. Then what? That food is disintegrated. The subtle aspect is given to the subtle body. The gross nutritions etc. are sucked from that after the chewing etc. that is separated, and the waste material that is remaining is excreted. That excretion does that job. Apana. Vyana means circulation. So these nutritions which are now formed, they will be converted into blood, and that blood will be taken to all the parts of the body. Circulation will happen. Circulation. Udana. Udana means reverse reaction. This is also one way of what we call as safety measures. The automatic safety measures of our body. For example, when we eat too much, then what happens? There is no place for air. Then what happened? Burping. Reverse reaction. Yawning. Why are you yawning? Because I am sleepy. But that is not, that oxygen is not sufficient. Therefore, what happens? Generally, the nose is taking the oxygen in and sending carbon dioxide outside. That is not sufficient. Then you open the mouth and take all the oxygen in. Burping, vomiting, or what is called that? Hitchki. All this is called as reverse reaction. That is the function of Udana. It is also Udana Vayu which takes our soul outside the body at the time of death. Throws it out. That is also function of this Udana Vayu. Then what? Fifth one, Samana. Samana means digestion. Anything that we are eating is digested. That is called as Samana. Now, if you see carefully, Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. In all of them, there is one common factor, that is An. Ana. Pra plus Ana, Prana. Apa plus Ana, Apana. V plus Ana, Vyana. So, Ana. That An means movement. Movement. Because it is functioning, no? So, pra plus An. Upward movement. The upper movement. Not upward, upper movement. So, from navel is generally considered as the center of our body. Isn't it? From there, above, upper body, whatever movement is happening. So, that is why respiration happens from nose, through throat, chest, up to abdomen, that navel. And then again it comes back. This is called as prana, functioning of prana, respiration. Now, below that is called as apana, excretion. Upper plus An. Upper plus An means downward movement. So, upper movement, downward movement. V plus Ana. V means circulation, everywhere. Vyapti. Now, this is not a kind of movement which is upper or downward. It is going in all directions. Why? Because body, every cell of the body has to get those blood and nutritions and everything. So, Vyana. Ut means sudden upward movement. Ut means that. Uttishta, get up. Uttishta means get up, upward movement. Udana. Samana. Sama means make it same. Means what? Digest it. Whatever has come, now make it settle down. So, you see how deep is language, Sanskrit language. No word is given just for fun. Samana is called Samana because of its function that it does. Everything has a reason. Right? So, these five, Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, the functions of respiration, excretion, circulation, reverse reaction and digestion. All of them put together are also called as Prana. So, first Prana can mean the first of the five, or it can also mean all the five put together. Generally, that's how it happens. Right? The first one is called as collective name also. First one is called by collective name also. So, prana, this is called prana. Okay, why? Why are you giving these names? He says swayameva, because it itself is vritti bheda, due to difference in their functions, and vikriti bheda, due to difference in their modification. In respiration, the air takes different form. In circulation, the air takes different form. So, basically all of them are air. But they are not outside air like the wind that we feel. They are vital airs that are inside, and they carry out these physiological functions. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, all of them have their distinct individual functions and their own modifications. Therefore, they are called by these names. Like what? Suvarna, Salila, Adivat. Like Suvarna. Suvarna is gold. Salila, water.
So just like we have discussed earlier, gold is only one, but it appears as earring, nose ring, bangles, necklace, etc. The names are different, shapes are different, manifestations are different. Though it is one gold, but because the names are different, shapes are different, manifestations are different, it is also worn at different places of the body. So functions are also different. One gold, but with different names, shapes, manifestation, functions. In the same way, Salila Adivata, like water. Water is one, but depending on the source, it can have various names. Well water, ocean water, lake water, pond water, Ganga water. Water is one, but the names change. In the same way, prana is only one, but the names are different depending upon the functions.
So, Pancha Jnanendriya, 5 organs of perception, Pancha Karmendriyani, the 5 organs of action, Antahkarana Chatushtaya, the 4-fold inner instrument, Pancha Pranaha, the 5 vital airs. So far we have seen these are the parts of subtle body. Now Shankaracharya ji puts all of that together and tells us what exactly is this subtle body. Let us read verse number 96. Vagadi pancha, Shravanadi pancha, Pranadi pancha, Bhramukhani pancha, Buddhyadya vidya picha kama karmani, Puryashtakam sukshma shariramahu. He says, Sukshma shariram ahuhu. This is called by the wise as Sukshma sharira, subtle body. What is that? Vak adi pancha. Pancha, 5. Vak adi. Adi means beginning with. The 5 beginning with vak. Vak means speech. So, what are the 5 that are beginning with vak? So, vak, pani, pada, payu, upastha. What are they called as? The karmendriyas. The 5 organs of action. Vak adi pancha. The 5 organs of action. Shravana adi pancha. The 5 that begin with Shravana. Shravana here means Shrotram. Shravana etc. was said, no? Shravanam tvagakshi ghranam cha jivva. That is pancha. Shrotram tvak chakshuhu rasana ghranam. What are they? 5 organs of perception. 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception. Vakadi pancha, Shravanadi pancha. Okay, okay. Pranadi pancha. The 5 beginning with prana. What are they? Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. What are they? 5 physiological functions, 5 vital airs, 5 pranas. Then he says carefully, Abhramukhani pancha. The 5 beginning with abhra. What is abhra? Abhra means space. So, what are the 5 that begin with space? We know. What are they? Space, air, fire, water, earth. Isn't it? Akasha, Vayu, Adbhya, Jala, Prithvi. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi. What are they? The 5 subtle elements. So, 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, 5 pranas, 5 subtle elements. Then, Buddhyadi. Buddhyadi. What is this Buddhyadi? Antakarana Chatushtaya. See, here he is not saying Buddhyadi Pancha. Vagadi Pancha, Shravanadi Pancha, Pranadi Pancha, Abramukani Pancha, Buddhyadi. Why? Because Buddhyadi is not Pancha. 5 are not there. So he says Buddhyadi. Buddhyadi means what? Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chittam, Antakarana Chatushtaya. Then he says Avidya. Avidya. Right now you just write ignorance. We will see what is the meaning, etc. later. Ignorance. Apicha, and also Kama Karmani. Kama Karmani. Kama and Karma. Is Kama Karmani, ni is Dirgha because it is showing Dvivachana. Dvivachana it is showing. Karma Karmani Karmani. Karma Karmani Dvivachana. Kama Karmani. So desire, Kama, Karma, action. Puri Ashtakam. These 8 factors. Swamiji, what 8 factors? Count. Vagadi Pancha. 5 organs of action. Count them as 1. Shravanadi Pancha. 5 organs of perception. Pranadi Pancha. 5 pranas. Abhramukhani Pancha. 5 subtle elements. Buddhyadi Antakarana Chatushtaya. Right? Avidya, Kama, Karma. These 8 factors together are called as Sukshma Sharira Mahuhu, are called as subtle body. 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, 5 pranas, 5 subtle elements, Antakarana Chatushtaya, 4 inner instrument, then Avidya, Kama, Karma. Right? Some people who have studied Vedanta before will say, some issues are there. Vedji. Avidya to is Karana Sharira. Suddenly why is it coming in Sukshma Sharira? We'll see. We'll see. Next verse also we have to see, then we will be able to understand everything together.